Welcome back to another episode of Creative Therapy, and actually the very first official video release of Creative Therapy. I am super excited to have two of my friends on this episode, Jess and Solo, who are also leaders of the Cameras and Cocktails crew out in Modesto, California. We got to talking about building a creative community from the ground up, the impact that it's had on the community and photographers and creators around the area, and we dig into everything to look forward to in the group for the next year. So let's get into it. So, thank you guys both for being here. I know it was a little hectic with all of our schedules to get together and with the holidays and everything.
Yeah.
So, I really appreciate you guys being here.
Thank you, Sophia, for inviting me, inviting Solo.
Of course, I wish it was in person, but as artists, we'll do as artists do and create our own space, even if it's
Yes.
virtually.
Yeah.
I love it.
Um, But that's the reason why I wanted to get you guys on here and talk was because you guys have been able to create a space of your own, a physical space, and also a community of photographers in an area that I personally feel like is very needed. And so, as a participant in the events, as a photographer, as a resident of the area, I am so super grateful that you guys have put this together. And so, how did that get started? The whole idea of cameras and cocktails? Because my understanding is that it started with you solo, right?
Yeah. So, me and two other photographers, Eden and my friend Rudy, we saw that the art community was starting to flourish more, but it was more targeted towards like physical art. So, we had an opportunity to showcase, like to start a photo showcase, but that didn't fall through. So we were like, you know what, let's just do our own. And it just so happened that Shauna had a like Lo-Fi had just opened up, and she was like, hey, like I love art. If you guys need a space, like I got you guys. So uh, we collectively came together and we made like a small camera club. It was called Northern Valley Camera Club. That's how we all started. And
Yeah.
then from there, we did like shows every month or every other month. I forgot. And I think that was about like 5 years ago. I think it was maybe a year before the pandemic. And then the pandemic hit. And of course, we weren't allowed to be in closed spaces. So that put a hinder to all of it.
Yeah.
And so Lo-Fi is a bar in the area, and they had just opened up at that time. And so, how did that come up? Was this just in conversation of like, oh, what do you do, and being interested in that, or how did that happen?
Well, she knew that we were all photographers and she wanted to give us a space to showcase our art. So when that
Mhm.
opportunity came, she reached out and was like, "Hey, I have a spot, and I want to see you guys put photos up." So it was more of like an in-person kind of conversation thing. It didn't feel real until we were there trying to see what we can use to fill up the walls with.
And that's amazing. When someone offers you a spot, it's like it's almost like the world is your oyster, like you have the
Yeah.
world at your fingertips. It's like, all right, what are all the things that we're gonna do with this space? But it's amazing that, you've been able to build that with other photographers to be able to showcase there. So Jess, when did you come into the picture? How did you and Solo meet?
Um, well, we met from mutual friends, and I know that they were doing these photo exhibitions, and I participated in my first one, and I was just like, whoa, this is so cool. And I get to do it at my favorite bar. And I get to do it with my friends that also enjoy the bar and doing the same thing. And I was just like, man, it was like this inspiration that just kind of like stuck with me. And I was like, wow, like I couldn't wait to do it again. Not only that, but it was an experience that you couldn't really like, you could describe it to somebody, but you had to like put yourself in that element and put yourself there and like not be shy about, showing your art. And it was like an experience that you could only experience when you go and participate at these cameras and cocktails showcases. So I had that, and it really fueled me. And I looked at them and I was just like, dude, thank you. I was really appreciative of the opportunity that they took that step forward, because it had me take that step forward with them as a community to, get together and showcase our stuff. And there was a lot of support and a lot of people that just made you feel like it, it's honestly a moment that it will be stuck for me with me forever. It was really cool. And yeah, we just went on from there. And yeah, we just hit it off, and we've all stayed in contact with each other. COVID did definitely have us kind of like, oh shoot, like we weren't seeing each other anymore. Um we were kind of figuring it out along the way. And then as soon as like it's, the businesses started kind of opening back up, and we kind of started going back to, our little not routine life, but went back. And I remember sitting there with Solo. I think we were having a drink, and Shauna looked at us. He's like, "So when are you guys gonna come back and do photos?" And then I looked at Solo and I was like, "Oh shit." And he was like, "I'm down." And I was like, "All right, I'm down." And then we just went from there.
Shout out to Shauna for encouraging that, because that's
Huge shout.
Absolutely.
yeah, that's super helpful. And maybe who knows, if it wasn't for her encouraging that, would you guys have come back and kept doing it?
Yeah.
Um, and I can also second that experience that you can only truly experience while you're there. Like I said, as a participant myself, um, being there has been such a comfort. Just as a photographer, being able to relate with other photographers and getting to meet new people and get to show work and admire others' work. And 2024 was a rough year for me, but the times that I was able to come to Cameras and Cocktails, that was just like, it felt like a second home. It just felt so good to be there in the presence with everybody else, with other creatives, and kind of just being in that space. So when did that transition happen from North Valley to Cameras and Cocktails? Was that like when you guys came back after COVID or?
Yeah, so we transitioned after Shauna came up to me and just about doing the show again, and I told her maybe we should just make a new club, like start fresh, kind of, because my other two friends weren't as actively shooting, or they weren't really into it anymore, which was fine with me. And I told Jess, I was like, "Yo, I'm down to do this, but like." I don't want to be the only one doing everything, so it's gonna be it's gonna be 50-50. I don't want to be in the limelight, but every time I go to the show, everyone's like, "Oh my god!" So yeah, the transition started after we pretty much rebooted it. So yeah, and then of course Jess came up with the name and the design. She did a lot. She did a lot.
Yeah. Well, I love the name, and maybe North Valley would have been a little a niche. So opening it up to Cameras and Cocktails is it feels like it's open to everybody. Anybody
Yeah.
can come through. You don't have to be from a certain area. You know what I mean? How often does the group get together?
Um. Ooh, that's a great question. I don't know. Probably maybe like a few weeks before we do the show.
Hmm.
We should probably start getting. We need to start planning more better, and that way we are more organized when it comes down to show dates. In the past times, we've kind of done everything last minute, but of course, everything works out in the end. But I would definitely like to have things more organized.
Yeah, and as far as the shows itself, how often are you guys showcasing at Lo-Fi?
So ideally, we would want to do a show like every other month. That way, we give photographers time to shoot new things or create new works for the show. Um, Most of the time, all of our shows have been pretty open themed, so there aren't really any restrictions other than quantities and sizes, just so everybody could be included.
Yeah, and you guys have scaled this thing to include so many different photographers. I think in December you had like 30 photographers showing, right?
Yeah, it's been getting bigger and bigger every show we do, which is very exciting because I love seeing so many different uh, outlooks on life and seeing what people choose to share with us.
So how did that happen? How did it end up growing to where it is now? Is it something that you guys had planned for strategically, or how did that grow so big?
Honestly, what I think is just because people showing up to the shows, of course, for word of mouth. So like people will come to the shows to support their friends, and of course there'll be photographers too, and they'll be like, "Hey, I've never really put my stuff up. This looks really cool. You guys are very inviting. Like, where do I sign up?" So I think as we did more shows, it grew bigger and bigger. And I do think the last show we did in December had the most photographers. We already have a lot of people sign up for the next one. Um, but yeah, yeah. So pretty much just word of mouth and people are coming to the show and realizing like, oh, this is a thing here in town. Like I never knew this existed.
Heck yeah. And I think what you guys do so well too is keep that line of communication open with the group. Like you have a whole Instagram group chat and where, people are welcome to share links to things that they're doing, to keep up with updates on the group, and to even just shout out and say hi and Happy New Year and Merry Christmas. Everybody jumps on and that warms my heart every time I see that. I'm just like, oh, that's so cool. Everybody's like wishing each other well. And it's just a really super supportive group. And you guys do that really, really well.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
And so how has that relationship been like with the venue Lo-Fi Cocktails?
Um, hmm. I would say very beneficial. I mean, we don't really ask much from them, just a space. They're always encouraging us to kind of do whatever we feel like, do whatever we feel like, as long as it's within the means of not destroying any property.
No, literally. Yeah, I mean, the relationship has grown as like I don't know, like like if your family welcoming into to their home, it you don't feel nervous other than you knowing that you're gonna participate, you're gonna probably be around a lot of people. If you're like antisocial and not always around a lot of people and you know you're gonna be talking to a lot of people because that's one thing about the shows is that people do ask questions, ask, oh, who's this? And sometimes some of the photographers don't even get to conversate with each other because of the amount of people that are attending and they're kind of taking a lot, not taking your time, but they do take some of your time to ask questions and to just get to know you a little bit better. But I do agree with Solo about the whole just having a little bit more organized because I feel like the more organized that we do get as a group, as a collective, we end up having a better experience. Even though we already have a great experience, but we have a better experience as into knowing, oh, this is a photographer, this is a person that attended, and us all kind of like collectively engaging, not just in the photography, but engaging hands on into stuff that we could possibly do as a collective, because I do see myself sometimes like, oh, like I wish I wasn't tied up in this to do, you know, other
Yeah.
things with, other photographers, but overall, it's definitely an experience. We're learning every single show, and I feel like a lot of our art community is also being super supportive. Modesto Art Movement definitely reached out, gave us a grant to help us out on each show, so we were able to like buy frames for the next shows. They do poetry nights and they do a whole bunch of other art stuff that they do also share. Hey, there's cameras and cocktails, and we did see a lot of people come and say, "Oh, I heard, of this from this art community, this poetry community." From word of mouth. So it's um it's been an experience that I'm so happy that I was able to experience it with the people that I have. Solo, Sophia, you, everybody in the chat, because man, even that one time we dove into the night photography, and that was just through somebody commenting something on the chat saying, hey, the stars are gonna be like this, or what was it?
I think it was the Northern Lights.
The Northern Lights, dude.
Yeah.
Like that was so cool. It was it was something that I honestly I'm cherishing for the rest of my life.
Yeah, that was pretty amazing to see come together. It was like someone like, "Hey, you guys be on the lookout for this. It'll be really cool to shoot." And then next day is everybody sharing their photos from that night. And it's like, wow, and you get all these different perspectives on that one event that was happening and everyone sharing that moment, at the same time, which is super, super cool to see. But going back to really quick to lo-fi, before we started recording, we were talking about how they've been remodeling a lot lately, and
Yes.
that could potentially have an effect on how the artists are showcasing their work. Do you want to
Mhm.
touch a little bit on that?
Yeah, so they're doing a lot of remodeling. They're super excited to just like display new menus, new format of how they have everything in, and we definitely have noticed that sometimes the walls go from very pretty to whoa, what happened? But there is a lot of installations, not just cameras and cocktails, where there's different things used for the walls, solo since the very beginning, and um, the Northern Valley Camera Club had a really good strategy on doing wall friendly stuff for the pictures to be intact of the wall. And then as it kind of grew, I think maybe lack of tape or just lack of knowledge that there should be a little bit more consideration on what we're using on the back of the pictures, for it to be on there. We don't want anything to peel off the wall, paint, but we're always on top of it, and it's not we're always on top of it. But then again, we do have some oopsies, and we got to go ahead and try to like move forward after this remodeling, that there's no oopsies like that. We have no way to control on other installations that may go in those walls, but I'm sure that now we have lo-fi on our group chat, they will be able to be more, direct with us in what they would like us to use for the future showcases. And it's nice because it's not just coming out of Solo's mouth or mine or it's the actual venue letting us know, hey, the walls, you could only use this, and this. This is not what is permitted, blah, 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 whatever they mention. But yeah, they're doing a lot of remodeling. I'm super excited. Like, yeah, I mean, you go into the venue, you already feel like you're not in Modesto.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't imagine what they have in store and what they decided to do.
Yeah, I saw that they'd been working on they have like a neighboring restaurant
Hmm.
area that is super, super cool. I've been to a couple of events in there and it's really nice. I want to do a shoot in there to be honest. We should all do like a group shoot in there. But anyway, that's another conversation. do you think that they're going to start bringing the restaurant into that, like with the remodeling, or how do you, or is anything like that going on in there?
I honestly have seen them open up a wall that is on your way into the restaurant coming from the bar area. They let us use this huge wall that's it basically blocks the kitchen view. But then again, from this remodeling, we don't know if they knocked that wall down. So, it is it is something that I'm not too sure because they have allowed us to use upstairs. They have two upstairs. Depending on what they end up using that for, it be their staff, their lunchroom, or just an empty space for us to kind of be able to push more pictures onto that area because the wall downstairs in that bar area doesn't fit so much. It does fit. We can fill up that majority, but for what the diner side, I honestly don't don't really know. It just all depends on what they have like on their schedule as in displaying art because I have seen them be a huge participant in allowing artists to display art. So if it's not on their bar side, the artist art is on the diner side. So it's a lot of like asking the artist, hey, can you take off your art for this one showcase that we're doing once every other month? But I feel like as of what we've seen the venue do is they definitely give us the space that is needed. Um, and it'd be really cool to have, I mean, the whole entire venue filled with photography, but I think with 30 photographers, we're still not yet, to like really need to ask, hey, could we have the diner side? But I feel like for future projects, as in like that photography thing to do collective on the diner side and do some photos there, it's definitely possible. It's just something that we would have to talk with the venue and say like, hey, what are you using the diner side at this hour? You know, can we use it from this hour to this? Um, but they've always been super helpful. So, but just with the diner side, we haven't really dove in other than that wall area.
Yeah. Um, and we have used the upstairs. I think you guys have used every like square inch of that space. And you'd use the upstairs for like a changing fitting room for a fashion show that you guys had even put together there with the venue. I mean, you practically shut down a whole block to put this thing together. You were using neighboring storefronts, and like the whole neighborhood got involved with this thing. And it's just so cool that you
Yes.
guys have turned this into such a big production. You've hosted photo walks, and Jess, you mentioned that you have gotten grants for the group to help with
Mhm.
supplies, and there's also some kind of teaching opportunities that are coming from this as well.
Yeah.
Are you able to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So there was some photographers that just like Solo said, word of mouth, that it has gone to some teachers locally at our local high schools that those teachers wanted the opportunity to maybe have some of our members come into the schools and kind of teach or talk to the students about photography. And I thought that was super, super cool that it got to that extent because there was a lot of people that reached out and said, "Yeah, I would love to do that." So what we try to go ahead and do is kind of communicate that with the members, let them know, "Hey, there's this opportunity with this school." We didn't get to do it last year when the opportunity was present, but we did go ahead and hold a lot of the information so we could gear up and be ready to, maybe have some of our members participate in that. I know I saved some of the information from the members that did want to go ahead and participate for this year to send them out to these high schools so they can go ahead and kind of do their own thing with the youngsters, you know, the people that are basically our future.
Yep.
Um, which is amazing that some of the members really like reached out. I didn't think that people were going to reach out and say, "Hey, I would like to go to these schools and do this." So it was nice that if, you know, if this is something that continues to grow, you know, we'll be not only at schools, but we'll be at, you know, at different seminars doing stuff like this, and Cameras and Cocktails will be able to kind of grow even more. But that was a really cool thing that popped up last year that I really didn't have no idea that it had spread that much.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's an area that could really use it. And so you guys have really found something very special to the community, to the area, to kids, and giving them that opportunity to learn things within the creative field because I don't think it's encouraged enough out here. But slowly but surely with groups like this, that could be that could become more of a thing and something for people to look forward to for sure. So what has this building this platform and having it been so many years later, looking back on everything and where everything is going, I can tell that this has become really important for you both, but um, maybe can you reflect a little bit on what the group and this community in general has come to mean for you?
So when me and Rudy and Eden first started the club and started doing the shows, what we wanted to create was a safe space for photographers to showcase their work, to meet other creatives. We wanted it to be kind of become its own thing to where the members can operate it without any three of us being present or being involved. Um, and looking back at it now from today's point of view, it's definitely done that. I have not been present as much as I would like to um, this past year, but I was so proud of everyone being able to come together as a collective to make sure that everything runs smoothly. Everyone has a space to just showcase their work. I'm huge on encouraging people to showcase their work and to share it. A lot of people are very afraid of that. That's why I like that our community is so welcoming and inviting to new members and to all kinds of different photographers. So to me, it's very very important. It's a large part of my life. So not being able to be present as much as I would like to last year definitely bothered me. Uh, I get so inspired every time I go to these shows and I see all these different works. Just talking to other creatives and other photographers, it's just I don't know. It just feels me like just like I know how it's inspired so many other people. It inspires me greatly to continue photographing and taking pictures and just trying to capture moments.
Yeah, and I've seen you even during times when you can participate, decide to not show your stuff, and I'm like, Solo, come on. Your work is just so amazing, and when you skip out, I'm like, you have to show, people have to see this stuff because it's so good. But I understand, and that's you, and that's speaking to your heart and this meaning so much to you that you're willing to set yourself aside to let somebody else shine
Yeah.
and giving them their space on the wall. So it's really cool to see, but honestly, you need to get up there. You need to be on those
Para
walls.
Natalia, ¿verdad? Sí. ¿Y la bebida? Que sale.
Um, Jessica.
Yes, I'm right here.
Okay, just want to make sure. Um, so Solo and I were just talking about what the community has come to mean for you, having been there from the beginning and seeing its growth. What has that come to mean for you?
Um, Honestly, what it has done is motivate me to get out of like my like slump of like not being as creative and stuff, and it really just it showed me that anything is possible if you have a community that loves exactly what you love and is genuinely wanting to create. Um, it 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 honestly kept me going. Um, Not a lot of things do that for me, and I was just really motivated by. And just like Sola said, like sometimes I wouldn't put my stuff up and stuff, and I would be like, I wish I would have. And and people and like the community would say it to you. Oh, I wish you would have put some stuff up. And give me 1 second. And and I truly admire everybody that has participated in every show because they come from far and they come to Modesto, which is not
Yeah.
typically what you hear, like I'm going to
For
Modesto.
real.
And then I've seen people come in and they're like, yo, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? And they're from different
Hmm.
cities. So it truly means the world to me. And it honestly it really saved my life. I wasn't in a good area in my mind, and my friends and the community really just like made it worth my while to keep going. So I'm really excited for the future for all of us.
Me too. Do you guys have any events planned for 25? Anything outside of, showcasing or any plans in that direction?
Um, that's a great question. I've always wanted to do like an out of town photo walk. Um, so maybe we can make that a reality this year. I do want to do more activities outside of just doing the showcase. That way, it's something more inclusive and it's just something different. And yeah,
I definitely want to keep doing these fashion shows. It requires a lot of work, a lot of footwork,
yeah,
a lot of talking to designers and stuff like that. But I feel like 2025 has a lot of surprises for us. Um, a lot of togetherness, and um, I think it's only going to be possible if the community is supportive and attend and they take that step forward. Okay. Here you go. Thank you.
For sure. So, where can people find you or the group or participate in the group?
They could find Cameras and Cocktails on Instagram. That's our only social handle that we have. Cámaras y Cócteles, if you spell it out in Spanish. You'll find us. You are more than welcome to send us a message, and you'll be right into our chat room. And we encourage everybody to kind of go through our past chats just to kind of get a little bit of an idea of kind of how everything goes. Um, you could also find us here in Modesto at Lo-Fi. A lot of us do hang out regularly at Lo-Fi when it's open. Um, and then what else did you ask, Sylvia?
Um,
Where else can we find can they find us, right?
yeah, you, the group.
Um yeah, you could also type in California Diamonds. The underscore goes before all that. With the S, yeah, not a Z. Underscore California Diamonds. And yeah, and cameras and cocktails, which is on Instagram, Cámaras E Cocteles. So Camaras or Y, and then Cocteles in Spanish, Cocteles. I believe I spelled it correctly. If I didn't, I'm sorry. I butchered the hell out of it. Um, but yeah, definitely encourage everybody that is looking for a community that is open arms, full of excitement, full of creativity, full of just doing something new, stepping out of the norm. Definitely come check us out. And I believe our next show is on, dang. So can you help me out on this?
It's gonna be the first. So we do our showcases the first Thursday of every month. So
Every other month.
I think it's gonna be February. eh,
Fifth?
Yeah, the fifth will
Yeah.
be the first showcase of 2025.
Yes, that's so exciting. And
And
Solo, where can people find you? Because if you're not going to be showing your work on the walls, at least share it on Instagram.
Yeah, so you can the only social I use also is Instagram. My handle is at the Curse of Solomon. Um, yeah, you can find me there, look through my stuff, whatever. Make sure you like everything. But yeah, usually a lot of people will come up to me and ask me how to get a hold of the camera. So camera club, so I'll direct them to the page, or I'll just go ahead and add them directly to the group chat that we have on there.
Right on. Is there any last bit of info that you want to make sure that gets out there, either about whatever you're doing or about the group?
Like me, or
Yeah,
uh,
any projects that you have going on or with the group?
oh, I'm not too sure. I know what I want to do is I do want to do more video work with the group or for the group, just because it's something different and it's kind of, it goes hand in hand with photography. So I would like to create more videos, or I think they're called like short films, like vignettes. I want to do something like that for the community and with the group. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, that would be amazing. How about you, Jess?
um, what do I have planned like for 2025? Or like something to let them know?
Yeah.
uh Come to this first show of 2025, which is 2/5/2025. Those are the dates. That's the date. And get ready because we're definitely gonna go ahead and end this year again with a bang. um Definitely check us out, guys, and thank you so much, Sophia, for um just reaching out and having this be something that we can share. And I can't wait. I really can't wait. Thank you so much, and shout out to every member on Cameras and Cocktails, because you guys have been just so inspiring.
We
And
see you. We see
I
you.
can't wait for this year. I can't wait for this year. All the new members, can't wait to meet you. And yeah, that's it for me.
Well, I'm excited for the first show, and I'm excited for what the year has in store for you guys and the group, and just having this community grow even bigger. So, thank you guys for all the work that you've done for me personally, for everybody else involved. Shout out to all the photographers involved and videographers as well. Solo, I really want to see some of this video work happen because that would be amazing.
Okay.
So, yeah. Thank you guys again for being here.
No, thank you so much. I never thought I'd be on a podcast that wasn't
Me
like
either.
a comedy show.
That wasn't what?
That wasn't like part of a comedy show.
Uh,
Oh my God.
well, that's why we're here. I want to make sure that you guys get the recognition that it has been very well earned, and especially to get more participation in the group, and just get the word out as far as it can go.
Yes. Thank you so much, Sophia.
Thank you guys.